My journey into child and family development has been quite a vast one. I've come from a lot of different industries. So I did EEG studies with individuals with sleep disorders, and that taught me a lot about the brain. Then I worked in education, and I worked for Autism Queensland, which was amazing. It showed me that the pressure the education system is under, working and catering with children with learning difficulties who are on the autism spectrum or who just have behavioural difficulties or troubles adjusting. My journey is from all these different backgrounds, and now I'm trying to integrate that into the practice that I have today. But one of the most valuable things for me was going into a school system. I did my master's focusing on the school system, and I began to realise that school was a training ground for these kids, but they weren't being equipped properly. Children don't learn in a linear fashion. They don't learn like this. They learn in a squiggly line fashion almost. It needs to be experiential. They need to feel what they're doing. They need to manipulate what they're doing. They need to love what they're doing and connect with what they're doing. A lot of people don't understand that autistic individuals are not people who don't like spending time with other people. And it actually stems back right into the industry as well, with people thinking that the original German word for autism means one, so one track, one focused. But it doesn't mean that the individual with autism doesn't want to connect with other people. In fact, it's totally the opposite. They want deep and meaningful relationships just like you and I, but they're just not equipped with the skills to manage those and develop those. Human beings are social beings. Most of what we learn about life and about the things that happen to us are from other people, and it's with other people that we learn them. And these social lessons are so important for us. I can just think of a social lesson that I've had now. When I first went to school, I used to play very rough with my brothers at home because they were all AFL boys. They like to push each other over. But I realised as soon as I went to school, that I can't play that way with my friends and peers. You get in trouble by your peers, you get in trouble by your teachers, and you get told off by your family and friends. And that's an important social lesson. I knew then that I couldn't play the same way with my brothers as I did with my friends at school. So I want you to imagine for a second that you didn't have that ability. You didn't understand that you weren't supposed to connect with people in that way. Imagine that you don't have the ability to make people feel comfortable and ultimately develop these meaningful relationships. And I think this is one of the main contributing factors that 70% of individuals with autism have a comorbid anxiety condition with either clinical or subclinical levels of anxiety. You know, this happens all across the spectrum. It's not just individuals with low functioning where you can overtly see their autistic behaviours mixed with the anxiety behaviours, which really emancipates their symptoms. But you can see it on the high end of the spectrum as well. I mean, I've spoken to teenage girls with ASD who are crippled with social anxiety because they don't want to make a mistake at school. And you can see this is running all throughout children with autism and individuals with autism, these anxiety behaviours which are mixed with their autistic behaviours. But increasingly, we're learning to delineate these behaviours and identify which one's which and begin to treat those, which is fantastic. Another leap forward in autism research is conceptualizing autism as a disorder of neural pathways. So this is important because we're seeing amazing imaging coming out like electroencephalography, TDCS, other neural imaging that gives us insight into what's going on in the brain, which is so important because individuals with autism often have trouble communicating things. So if they can't communicate it and we can't hear it, now we can see it with this imaging. And this is really great because we're getting some interventions based off that. We're getting things like neurofeedback, TDCS, and transcranial direct stimulation, and other things that are allowing us some incredible interventions based off this neural pathway disorder hypothesis. So this and a mix of other things are really leading the way and pioneering in autism research at the moment, which I think is fantastic. I just can't wait to see more research kind of go into these things, these devices, and making them more accessible so that we can see more children with autism really come back to life.